Football has always promised one thing, that every team, no matter how big or small, steps onto the pitch with the same dream and the same opportunity. That belief is what turned the FIFA World Cup into the biggest sporting event on Earth. But what happens when millions of fans begin asking whether the organization protecting that dream is facing its biggest test yet? For years, FIFA has celebrated unforgettable moments, legendary champions, and record-breaking tournaments. Yet behind the celebrations, another story has slowly been unfolding. A story filled with difficult questions, growing criticism, and a global debate that refuses to disappear. It isn't about one match, it isn't about one referee, and it certainly isn't about one country. It's about trust, the foundation on which world football has always stood. In recent years, discussions surrounding FIFA have become louder than ever. Journalists, former players, football executives, and supporters from every corner of the world have questioned whether the game's governing body is transparent enough to meet the expectations of modern football. Some believe FIFA has made significant progress. Others believe much more still needs to change. If you're passionate about football and enjoy documentaries that go beyond the headlines with facts, history, and real analysis, consider subscribing. It helps us continue bringing stories that matter to football fans around the world. What makes this debate so fascinating is that it doesn't begin inside a stadium. It begins long before the players walk onto the pitch. Every major decision, whether it's tournament planning, governance, scheduling, or regulations, can influence the future of the world's most popular sport. That is why every decision made by FIFA is watched, analyzed, and debated across every continent. And then came one of the most emotional World Cups in modern history. Argentina's unforgettable victory inspired millions of football fans around the world. For many, it was the perfect ending to an incredible story. For others, it also became the beginning of countless debates across television, newspapers, podcasts, and social media. Questions about refereeing decisions and tournament management spread rapidly online. While no official investigation concluded that the tournament had been manipulated, the public debate itself became impossible to ignore. From Buenos Aires to London, from Paris to New York, football fans found themselves arguing about more than just goals and trophies. They were arguing about trust. And once trust becomes part of the conversation, every future decision is placed under an even brighter spotlight. Every major institution reaches a moment when it faces more questions than applause. For FIFA, many believe that moment has arrived. The organization responsible for protecting the world's most popular sport now finds itself under a level of public scrutiny unlike anything seen before. Not because football has stopped growing, but because expectations have never been higher. Supporters don't just want unforgettable tournaments anymore. They want transparency. They want accountability. They want confidence that every important decision is made with the long-term future of the game in mind. In today's world, trust is just as valuable as the trophy itself. As criticism continued to grow, attention naturally shifted toward FIFA President Gianni Infantino. Every speech, every announcement, and every major decision was examined by fans, journalists, and football officials around the world. His supporters point to expanded competitions, greater investment in football development, and the continued global growth of the sport. His critics argue that FIFA still needs stronger governance, greater transparency, and clearer communication with the wider football community. This debate didn't stay inside FIFA headquarters. It quickly spread across Europe, where several football leaders openly discussed the future direction of the game. Different organizations often disagreed over scheduling, tournament expansion, governance, and the balance of power within international football. Suddenly, the conversation was no longer about a single controversy. It had become a discussion about who should shape the future of the world's biggest sport. Meanwhile, Argentina remained at the center of countless online discussions.
For millions of supporters, their World Cup triumph was one of the greatest football stories ever written. Others continued to revisit individual refereeing decisions and controversial moments from the tournament. Those debates have never completely disappeared. They continue to resurface whenever FIFA faces fresh criticism. It is important to separate public debate from proven fact. Football has always created passionate opinions, and controversial moments are remembered for generations. But opinions alone do not establish wrongdoing. That distinction matters, especially when discussing events watched by billions of people around the world. Perhaps that is the greatest challenge facing football today. In the age of social media, a single clip can travel across the globe within minutes. A single decision can dominate headlines for weeks. Every replay creates another opinion. Every opinion creates another debate. And before long, the discussion becomes bigger than the match itself. For FIFA, this is no longer just a communications challenge. It is a trust challenge. Every future tournament, every major appointment, and every significant policy decision will be judged not only by its outcome, but by how transparent the process appears to the global football community. And with another historic era of international football on the horizon, one question continues to grow louder. Can FIFA strengthen the confidence of football fans around the world, or will every new controversy make that challenge even more difficult?
The timing could not be more significant. Football is entering a new era unlike anything the sport has experienced before. More countries are competing on the biggest stage. Broadcasting audiences continue to break records. Commercial partnerships are growing larger every year. The game has never been more global, and with that growth comes greater responsibility. Every decision made behind closed doors now reaches the public within minutes. Fans no longer wait for tomorrow's newspaper. They analyze documents, compare statements, replay controversial moments, and challenge official explanations in real time. Whether those conclusions are right or wrong, one reality is impossible to ignore. The relationship between football's governing bodies and the public has changed forever. That is why credibility has become one of FIFA's most valuable assets. It cannot be measured in television ratings or sponsorship deals. It is measured by whether supporters believe the game is being protected with fairness, consistency, and integrity. Once that confidence begins to fade, rebuilding it becomes far more difficult than winning it in the first place. Around the world, football supporters may disagree about clubs, rivalries, and national teams, but they share one common expectation. They want the outcome of every tournament to be decided by the quality of football played on the pitch. They want future generations to remember great goals, brilliant tactics, and unforgettable performances, not endless debates about what happened away from the game itself. For FIFA, the challenge is clear. Continue improving transparency, communicate decisions more openly, and demonstrate through actions, not just words, that the integrity of football remains the highest priority. Supporters are not asking for perfection. They are asking for confidence that the world's greatest sport is being governed in a way that earns their trust. Perhaps that is why these conversations matter so much. They are not simply about one president, one tournament, or one controversial decision. They are about protecting something much bigger. Football belongs to billions of people. It belongs to children dreaming of wearing their national colors one day. It belongs to families gathering around a television every 4 years. It belongs to communities that celebrate victories together and share heartbreak together. No institution, no matter how powerful, can forget that simple truth. The game has always been bigger than the people who govern it. Leadership may change, policies may change, competitions may evolve, but the responsibility to protect football's integrity never disappears. As the countdown to the next chapter of world football continues, millions of supporters will once again fill stadiums with hope. They will sing, celebrate, and believe that for 90 minutes anything is possible. And perhaps that belief is the most valuable thing football has ever created. Because without trust, there is no legacy.
And without legacy, even the greatest organization must eventually answer the toughest question.
The next chapter of this story won't be
Every decision will contribute to that future. Perhaps that is why this discussion matters far beyond FIFA itself. It reminds every governing body in sport that success is not measured only by revenue, attendance, or television audiences. It is also measured by public confidence. Because once people stop believing in the fairness of competition, the foundation of every sport begins to weaken. And maybe that is the real lesson here. Football has never belonged to one organization. It has never belonged to one president, one generation, or one nation. It belongs to every supporter who celebrates victory, every player who dreams of wearing their country's shirt, and every child who believes that one day anything is possible with a ball at their feet. That belief is football's greatest achievement. Protecting it may be the greatest responsibility of all.
The world's greatest competitions are remembered from moments that inspired generations, a goal that changes history, a save that defines a career, a captain lifting a trophy after years of sacrifice. Those are the images football wants the world to remember, and for the most part, they are. But every generation also remembers the difficult questions that challenged the game behind the scenes. Perhaps that is inevitable. The bigger the sport becomes, the greater the responsibility placed on those who govern it. Billions of people now follow football. Every decision is analyzed by experts, debated by supporters, and discussed across every major media platform. The margin for error has never been smaller. For FIFA, this means the future cannot rely on reputation alone. It must be built through decisions that consistently demonstrate fairness, transparency, and accountability. Trust is not a statement, it is something earned over time, one decision after another. The football world is watching closely. National federations are watching, clubs are watching, players are watching, and above all, the supporters are watching. Not because they want football to fail, but because they want it to remain the greatest sport on the planet. That hope unites every generation of fans. Whether someone grew up watching Pelé, Maradona, Zidane, Ronaldo, Messi, or the next generation of stars, the dream has always been the same: to believe that greatness is achieved through talent, determination, and fair competition. That dream is what makes the World Cup unlike any other sporting event on Earth. In the years ahead, football will continue to evolve. Technology will improve. New tournaments will be introduced. New champions will emerge. But the values that built the game cannot be left behind. Integrity, respect, transparency, and equal opportunity are not just ideals, they are the foundation that allows football to inspire billions of people around the world. Because at the end of every tournament, the celebrations eventually fade, the headlines move on, the stadium lights are switched off, but the legacy of the decisions made during that era remains for decades. Future generations will not only remember who won the trophy, they will remember how the game was protected. And perhaps that is the greatest challenge facing football today. Not simply creating bigger tournaments or reaching larger audiences, but ensuring that the beautiful game continues to deserve the trust it has earned over more than a century. The final whistle of one tournament is always the beginning of another story, and the next chapter of football's history is already waiting to be written. Every era of football leaves behind more than trophies. It leaves behind lessons. Some are remembered for extraordinary victories. Others are remembered for the questions they forced the sport to confront. Those questions are often uncomfortable, but they also drive progress. Throughout football's history, public debate has frequently been followed by reforms, stronger oversight, and new standards designed to protect the game. That is why this conversation is bigger than any single headline. It is about ensuring that football continues to evolve without losing the values that made it the world's most beloved sport. Supporters do not expect perfection. They expect honesty, consistency, and a commitment to improving whenever challenges arise. The responsibility does not belong to FIFA alone. National associations, continental confederations, clubs, referees, players, broadcasters, journalists, and supporters all play a role in shaping football's future.
Every part of the football ecosystem influences how the game is experienced by the next generation. For young players dreaming of a World Cup, none of these debates matter as much as the hope they feel every time they step onto a pitch. They believe that hard work can overcome obstacles. They believe that talent can change lives. That belief is what football must always protect. As the sport grows across North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and South America, expectations will continue to rise. The world will demand better governance, clearer communication, and decisions that inspire confidence rather than uncertainty. Those expectations are not a burden. They are the price of leading the world's most popular sport. When the next World Cup begins, billions of eyes will once again turn toward the pitch. The focus should belong to the players, the managers, the unforgettable goals, and the unforgettable stories. The greatest success for any governing body is when the tournament is remembered for football itself, not for controversies surrounding it. Because football has always been at its strongest when the conversation ends with admiration for the game, not suspicion about the system. That is the standard every generation hopes to see, and the standard every institution should strive to uphold. The future remains unwritten. The decisions made tomorrow will shape the stories told decades from now. And in the end, that may be the true legacy of football. Not simply who became champions, but whether the game remained worthy of the passion that billions of people have invested in it.
There is a reason football is called the beautiful game. It has the power to stop wars for 90 minutes, unite people who speak different languages, and create memories that last a lifetime. Very few things in the world can bring billions of people together with the same emotion. That is why protecting football has never been more important than it is today. Every generation inherits the game from the one before it. Legends pass the torch, new stars rise, new nations emerge. But one responsibility never changes: to leave football stronger than it was found. That responsibility belongs to everyone connected to the sport, from the highest offices to the smallest local football fields. When people look back at this era years from now, they will remember the incredible players, the unforgettable finals, and the remarkable growth of football across the world. They will also remember how the sport responded to criticism, how leaders handled difficult questions, and whether institutions continued to strengthen the confidence of the people they serve. Great organizations are not defined by never facing criticism. They are defined by how they respond to it, listening, adapting, improving, and demonstrating through actions that the integrity of the game comes before everything else. Those qualities build confidence that lasts far longer than any single tournament. Football's greatest strength has never been its trophies. Its greatest strength has always been belief. The belief that every underdog has a chance. The belief that every child can dream. The belief that 90 minutes can change history. Once that belief is protected, the game will continue to inspire generations, no matter how much the world changes around it. So as football moves towards its next chapter, one hope remains shared by supporters everywhere: that the future of the game will be shaped not only by extraordinary players, but also by extraordinary leadership, responsible governance, and an unwavering commitment to fairness, because those are the foundations that allow football to remain the world's game. In the end, this story has never been about choosing sides. It has been about asking important questions, respecting the facts, and recognizing that football is too valuable to stop striving for better. Every generation has a responsibility to protect the sport they love, so the next generation can dream even bigger than the last. And perhaps that is where this documentary truly ends, not with a final answer, but with a reminder. Football will always belong to the millions who fill the stadiums, the billions who watch from home, and every child who kicks a ball for the very first time. As long as that spirit survives, the beautiful game will always have a future worth believing in.